There's Molly. We are in a tiny little study pod and we're making it work.
Yes.
So, all right. Let me get my pen. I'm going to take some notes. Okay. Hi, Miss Parker. How are you doing?
Hi there.
It is great to see you.
Yes. It is great to see you as well.
Yes. So, let's dive in. We spoke briefly last week about, and you mentioned there was some internal discussion about logistic challenges that you've been facing, and you're open to evaluating how things are working. Does this still sound like a good use of our time?
Yeah, it's definitely been on our radar recently. We've had a few issues, and we're trying to figure out and determine what's working and what's not.
Okay, cool. I want to start at a high level. So how is your logistics process set up today from inbound to outbound?
Well, we source resin and other materials from Asia and domestically here. Everything comes into our Dallas facility, and then we shipped finished containers across the company to a mix of industrial and CPG clients.
Okay, and then just so I'm in the clear, you're using two different logistics providers, correct? One for domestic and then one for international?
Right, correct. And it works in theory, but lately we've been seeing delays in double work, especially on the tracking and the invoicing side.
Okay, and so let's talk a little bit more about those delays. When they happen, what's the downstream impact?
Well, production gets off schedule, for one. Customer service has to do damage control, and we often have to expedite or adjust on the whim.
That sounds like it's not just a logistics problem, it's a ripple across the entire organization. So who usually gets looped in when things go sideways?
Well, my team manages it day to day, but purchasing, operations, and even finance will get involved if we're eating costs or switching suppliers. But we're already, just to let you know, we're already under contract with our providers.
I hear you there. And breaking contracts is always the company's concerns. And I'll just be clear, we're not asking you to switch tomorrow. However, many teams just start out by mapping the cost of expectations, such as missed windows, things like duplicate charges and rush shipments. We also can map out credits to customers who are upset about late orders or even missed deadlines. Would it be useful to compare your cost of disruption to the industry averages?
Yeah, that could be helpful, yes.
Okay, let's do it. Would you be open to a follow-up session where we delve deeper into areas such as exception, cost, tech visibility, and maybe explore what a more integrated model would look like?
Let's do it.
Okay. Just to make sure, it is recording, right? Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry about that. Just want to make sure that we didn't miss that out. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Miss Parker, thank you again for continuing the conversation. It is always great to see you. So following our last meeting, we reviewed several trends among manufacturers in your space. There are some big themes. Some were hidden costs or missed deadlines combined with increasing customer demand for a quicker turnaround time. So even if base rates stay steady, things like missed shipments or urgent reroutes stack up quickly. Does that sound familiar?
Absolutely. We've had to pay expedite fees multiple times this quarter already.
Multiple expedite fees. That is rough. Can I ask, what is the internal reaction like that trigger?
Well, production delays, customer complaints, and a considerable internal scrambling. It also puts me in fighting mode, and I do not have time for that. My focus needs to be on long-term planning, not fire drills.
Yes, ma'am. I hear you on that. You seem like an amazing boss, not as much of a firefighter, though. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper. Your customers, is there any risk there?
Yes, one of our top CPG accounts warned us last quarter after a late delivery, and that one stung. We can't lose anyone, but especially not that one.
Yes, I hear you on that. And one shift we're actually seeing is how companies aren't asking how much does this load cost. They're starting to ask how much is this exception going to cost us. So I'm curious, if we could help you reduce those events through proactive triggers, dashboards, and simpler coordinations, what would that mean for you and your team?
That would free up a lot of time and reduce stress. It's the time suck that's killing us. We've even tried the dashboards before. They don't really help.
The dashboards that you've seen before. Okay. that is a fair concern, and many systems display what has already happened. We call that reactive visibility. At Schneider, we have a predictive visibility. That's shipments risk flagged before they become a problem.
Okay.
Do you think it would be helpful if I showed you how one of our clients reduced their late shipments from 8 to 2, and then what happened is that they actually reduced their cost by as much as 15% by using predictive triggers?
Yeah, I'd be curious how that works.
Okay. I want to build a framework around exception cost avoidance and proactive visibility. Would that be worth presenting to your operation and finance leads?
Yeah, let's set that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. Awesome. It is so great to see you as always, Ms. Parker. Based on our last conversation, I did some digging around and we built a framework to reduce exception costs, centralize tracking across modes, and simplify your 3PL management. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. What would you want to see in the proposal to make it worth your time?
Well, they'll want to see hard savings potential, ease of implementation, and low risk in switching to a new provider. And I'm actually worried about the transition risk because we've been burned before.
Yes, I hear that a lot. And transitioning freight is always a little bit uncomfortable. So that is why our model at Schneider first includes a phase launch redundancy plan. There's going to be no switch flips overnight. We are going to mirror and measure first. What would a phase test pilot, or do you think a phase test pilot would help ease your concerns?
Yeah, that would help a lot.
Okay, so I'm going to prep a clear agenda for Thursday. Thank you so much for your information and the time. You've been very generous, and I really want to make it worth your while.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Our proposal focuses on 3 things. I'm going to list them out, okay? First is reducing exceptions by using predictive visibility. The second is going to be unifying domestic and international freight into one unified platform. And then the third is streamlining communication and invoicing.
Well, I'd like to first ask, how does this actually reduce total cost?
Yes, thank you for your question, because I'm happy to share that we'll show a before and after model factoring in avoided expedited fees, fewer vendor penalties, and reducing admin time. There was one case that a mid-sized plastic firm actually saved over $40,000 in just 3 months by reducing late fees and touch points.
Wow. Well, what does implementation look like? We can't afford a disruption.
I totally hear you, and that is completely valid. We're going to start with a controlled pilot, shadow your current processes, and identify risk before scaling. So in that way, you'll always have rollback options.
And what's different about your tracking? I mean, we've tried portals before. They seem all the same.
Yes, thank you. And I'm happy to talk about that because most portals show what has already happened. That's not what we use at Schneider. Our shipments, behavior patterns, forecast risks, then flagging shipments that are likely to go late or customers that are likely to escalate. Would a demo next week help to show that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to revise the proposal that includes a pilot plan, cost avoidance ROI, and then a rollout timeline. Let's say maybe Tuesday for a follow-up. Does that work?
Let's put it on the calendar.
Awesome.
Good job.
Yay, all done.
Yay. Did he